Hey everyone, spicing up my content creation, revisiting Data and Destiny with one of the mini faction runners, Sunny Lobo. Today I'm going to be playing Sunny with off-campus apartment, connection spam. Lots of connections on off-campus, hyper draw your entire deck as fast as you can so that you can win. Now, this is not so much a very fun game. In fact, this is going to be pretty boring as all Sunny games are because all Sunny is set up your entire rig, get lots of money, win the game. It's actually pretty straightforward and boring. So instead, I want to use this opportunity to get a discussion, especially with you players who probably have a lot more experience playing with Sunny than I do. I'm playing up against NEH today, and this is the competitive section, so you bet that that's an Astro being rushed out behind a wraparound or something. Well, not much I can do about that. But I'll try to poke around HQ and R&D a bit, make sure that he doesn't have a second Astro. I see a wraparound and a Cyberdex. I do not trash a Cyberdex. Cyberdex is irrelevant to Sunny. I'd rather him draw it because it's a dead card for him. So I'll continue drawing up while thinking of what to do next. So now I'd like to discuss something. How do you build Sunny? The most important thing with Sunny is to actually set up your breakers as quickly as possible. Your rig, meaning the 3 breakers, the cloud breakers, plus the nexus. That is a very expensive task. So how do all of you achieve that? For those of you who play Sunny, what is the best way of achieving that? In my mind, the only way of doing so is with Stimhack and maybe SMC or Peddler. Because I don't see you getting the breakers out in a timely fashion any other way. Or maybe there's just no option. Sadly, perhaps it is the case that Sunny is just meant to be very weak. That she almost certainly have to let the corp get 2 or 3 agendas before she can do anything. And this is definitely looking like the case here. I'm barely even set up. I don't have money to install my Nexus, and my opponent is pretty far ahead. He could actually score a build if he wanted to. And yes, that's exactly what he does right here. He sneaks a build out behind the remote, and I can't do anything about it because I don't have the credit level to threaten getting to the server. If it's in Enigma, I need 4 credits plus another 4 credits to break the Enigma, which is pretty ridiculous. So yeah, I'm not getting in anyway, and he can seriously abuse that. So how do you get capital so quickly? That is my question. I guess ultimately, the reason why no one plays Sunny in a competitive setting is because she takes far too long to set up, and that me trying to fight against an NEH deck is an absolutely futile effort. Still, I would like to hear your opinions on how you think Sunny can set up as quickly as possible. And there you see the Vamp under my Peddler. I think Sunny is one of the best runners to leverage Vamp because she has such good economy and she doesn't have a lot of HQ pressure. So once you exceed your opponent's capital, and most likely they aren't defending HQ against Sunny, then you can seriously abuse that with a well-timed Vamp. But outside of that, Sunny just doesn't do much work. Yet every time I play against a Sunny, it seems to be very oppressive. Right? Because they play data foldings and underworld contacts, and you're like, I can't keep her out. She's getting 4+ credits a turn. What am I supposed to do against that? So here you see me get a Nexus, and it turns out it's a little engine blocking the way, but that's fine. I can trace through the little engine. And right now I don't have a lot of link. I would really like to get a rabbit holes up, but again, there's just no time to do that. And my opponent's on G's Viroid, so I have to trash it. So yeah, it's just very, very painful all in all. I install a Jack Sinclair here, and that's pretty cool because now you have the Jack Sinclair Masnori combo, and that combo actually does a lot of work for the rest of this game. As you see, every single turn I get 1 free card. It's a drug dealer that doesn't cost you any money. Drip Econ that is. So here, Jack Sinclair, I declare any server, so not only do I get 1 free card, I get to check his remotes as well, keep him honest. So that's pretty good. But it takes a long time to set that up. I think Jack Sinclair and John Masnori are very important includes in any Sunny deck. It's just so efficient. It's actually quite ridiculous. I haven't really actually played with Sunny, obviously, but now that I have, I'm starting to discover how absolutely ridiculous that combo is. Even against a non-horizontal deck, you can, if you're not planning to run that turn, you can still fire Nexus to make a Archives run or something and still get your free card. It's really, really good. Of course, the only faction a matchup where you don't play John Masnori against is probably Jinteki, because you don't want to get tagged by Caprice Nisei. Yeah, because John Masnori will give you a tag for failing the run. Anyway, my opponent continues fast throwing out, but he doesn't have an Astro script, so he's doing it on a Bill instead. And that puts my opponent on 6 points, so from now on I need to just ditch any notion of setting up. Don't bother with the strike, don't bother with the striker. I'm going all out to make sure that my opponent doesn't find the winning breaking news. Alright, Jack Sinclair run as usual. One free card. Notice that there's a Cyberdex in the last remote server that I'm not targeting at all. I plan to keep that there for the rest of the game. That is a free server for me a free vector of attack for John Masnori, Jack Sinclair. So again, first I run HQ, I see a Mumbat Tour, very good. I have 2 scrubbers out, so it's virtually free for me to trash. Then I go for R&D, make sure I get the R&D lock, make sure he doesn't find the breaking news on top. Shows me a Turnpike, usually a very annoying piece of ice, but I can trace through it with 3 link. So I really wish I had the rabbit holes installed at this point, because it will help fuel both my Nexus and my Turnpike. So just 2 credits to get through, plus 1 for the Turnpike tax. I see a Jackson Howard, which I really should trash, and a Sansan. I cannot let Jackson Howard go because he'll just hyper draw next turn to win by finding a breaking news. Once the breaking news hits his hand, I probably lost. And it turns out he hasn't actually found his breaking news, so the game goes on. So again, no more setup. This is all my clicks should be spent on attacking his centrals right now because he's on game point. All I can do is to get 1 free draw every turn with Masnori and Sinclair and hope for the best. So, where shall I run? My opponent has 3 credits, there's only so much he can res, but I need some credits to run as well. So, I'm going to install Rabbit Hole. It's a form of economy because it fuels both the Turnpike trace and the Nexus trace, allowing me to beat them more easily. 4 link is starting to become rather significant. Here I install the second Rabbit Hole. There are no more Rabbit Holes in my deck, the last one is in the bin. I cannot install both from my hand with a single click because Rabbit Hole only allows you to install further Rabbit Holes from the deck. So here I realize that if I install both Rabbit Holes, I actually won't have enough money to beat the Turnpike trace, and that's very bad. You have to keep in mind that you do encounter the Turnpike. I mean, I guess I could fire the Security Nexus. Yes, one thing I didn't consider was that you could fire Nexus on encounter with the Turnpike, which allows you to bypass the losing 1 credit on encounter effect. So a wraparound, which I can break with my Sherman, followed by the Turnpike, which I allow the Corp to trace me. He has very few credits left, so I can get past it. I see a hedge fund, sweet. Final click is take credit. Maybe I should run HQ, doesn't matter. I don't think he has the agenda in hand. The game goes on. So yes, you see right now I'm just treading water. I'm gaining 3 free credits and a card every single turn, and that sounds like an insane amount. But I need to be spending every single turn running, and that means resources. 2 credits to break the wraparound, a couple of credits more for that Turnpike. I just don't have enough money. And I still need to check the remote, because now he could be scoring a Bill or something behind the remote. I want to make sure it's not a Bill, it's a Geus Bioroids. Trash for 1 credit, sure, I'm in there, why not? And I set up with data folding. So that's 4 free credits and a card each turn, and it's still not enough. Even against a lightly defended NBN. It's no Glacier deck, but it's still difficult because I'm forced to run every single turn, and that's just taxing so many resources. Alright, going to go through R&D again. This time I'm forced to use Nexus on the second wraparound. Actually, I could just pay through with Sherman, but I chose to trace through instead, which costs a bit less. And then we see the Daily Business Show and the Palooza. I'm still barely keeping afloat, treading water right now. And my opponent begins to hyper draw, so very likely could have drawn that breaking news. I'm gonna check every single remote still with Jack Sinclair, Daily Business Show. That has to be trash. That could draw him the winning agenda. I still need to keep running. So I ran. Again, just treading water, just trying to nick cuts off the top of R&D, making sure there's no breaking news there. That's so hard. So every time, as I said, every time I play against Sunny, it seems insurmountable. Her credit advantage, she can get double digits easily, but when I play Sunny, it just doesn't feel that way. It feels like I'm always playing 2 steps behind. I don't have enough money to get through. I'm getting traced, I'm getting tagged. It's just horrible. And yes, I see a biotic label, so pretty much I knew that that was probably game because he probably has a Bill of Swords in hand and that's gonna win him sooner or later. I can only await my fate as he double draws with Daily Business Show. And I think he wins here. Nope. He goes for more ice on the remote along with what seems like an agenda in there. So I make my Jackson Clare run. It's advanced assembly lines. Fair enough. And what do? I can't get into the remote. And even if I do, if it's a sand, I can't do anything about it. A stim hack would be really lovely right here. I'm thinking of installing the striker here, which is the code gate breaker. But I realized that it will cost me 6 credits to break the little engine, and I just don't have that amount of capital. So the only thing I can do now is to stop him from drawing, take a couple credits to set up for the next turn. And once you take a setup turn against any H, you lose the game. You can't afford to do that. So yeah, that's it. So to go back to the start of this video, how do you build your Sunny deck? What kind of cards do you think are necessary for her? And what do you think is the fastest way for her to set up her rig? How do you generate so much money? How do you keep afloat of the corp's speedy plans? Or am I really just being over optimistic that Sunny is just really a downright awful ID? I'd like to hear from you, being a very inexperienced Sunny player myself. In the meantime, thanks for watching and happy net running. Goodbye.